With my colleagues, we've done a variety of experiments that have kind of a design like this one here, where people are evaluating 2 job applicants who are equivalently qualified, okay? They may be evaluating 2 women, Allison and Sarah, or 2 men, Brad and Matthew, but one of the 2 that they're evaluating has children. So these little baby bathroom figures here are meant to indicate, they don't have bathroom figures for babies, so that's what this is to indicate. So before we start this experiment, we create 2 job applicants, okay? And we give them a resume, we give them performance evaluations, and we do a lot of pre-testing on them with no names on the files and no mention of kids. So imagine just person A and person B. And we do this until we get 2 job applicants that are judged to be equivalently qualified. That is, people prefer to hire them at the same rate, they offer them the same salary, everything's equal. And then we start the experiment, we give them names, we make them women or we make them men, and we add a very subtle mention that one of the 2 is a parent. So down in the bottom of the resume where you list interesting things about yourself, this person notes that they've been an officer in an elementary school parent-teacher association. So that's it. Okay? So the question is, does that little bit do any damage? And the answer is a clear yes. And the magnitude, when I did this study, I expected the answer would be yes. I've talked to enough working mothers to suspect that we were going to find something, but the magnitude was rather striking to me. 84% of people said they would recommend Sarah for hire, but only 47% of a woman who has equivalent qualifications but's a mother would be recommended for hire. They were evaluating people for high-level marketing positions, and so the salaries were quite high, but what you'll notice is that they were also offering the mother $11,000 lower wages, a significant and rather striking difference. With dads, this isn't what you see. Dads were actually hired at a slightly higher rate than childless men and were offered slightly higher starting salaries. So we look at this and we're like, what's going on? So we had them do a little more ratings on these applicants, and very clearly what you see is that the mother is being rated as less competent and less committed to the job. And a lot of people talk about how mothers are seen as less committed. We found that here. But to see someone as less competent just because they've had a child seems almost unbelievable. With fathers, the exact opposite finding. The father was seen as more competent and more committed. This competent thing really kind of struck me, so I started looking around to see if other people had found something similar to this. And one of my colleagues, actually, a law professor, Deborah Rohde, had been interviewing a lot of women who had, in the legal profession, who had had a child and then came back to work. And they would talk about being given, less interesting projects, like paralegal work instead of law work. And one woman told Deborah that she actually said to her employer, "I had a baby, not a lobotomy."